here. No, we don't.
Are these on?
Yeah, they're on. Do you want me to just close this and then?
I don't know. Is that her slides? I guess
No, that's the intro.
Oh, it was. Yeah, close it down.
Her presentation has audio.
True colors are beautiful, like a rainbow.
Perfect.
If you want to use
Yes,
that.
that'd be great. I tend to move around a little
It's
bit.
going to be tough.
Too close? It's Jersey, so we might be able
Yeah,
to
let's
pinch
do
it.
that. Let's do that.
Okay.
Yeah. And then this you might just have to hold the pack.
Oh, yes. I'm
So we're doing this as well. So
Oh, little mic. Yeah, let's see. Turn it on here. Or like call one.
that's good there. You press and hold this button and it turns on. Are you ready to go?
Yeah, I'll probably hold it. That's fine. It's just something to do with my hands.
Yeah, it's on right
And then
now.
this works. I just moved it forward so they have some time to get that done. Okay, and I think somebody's.
Hi, everyone. I know you all are getting settled in. Thank you so much for your patience with the dental student exam. We really appreciate that. I would like to take a moment to welcome you all and thank you so much for coming to our program today. We have an awesome speaker, so get excited. A couple of housekeeping items. If there are any questions at the end, we're going to have two runners on the microphones, Blair and Melody. So if you do have a question, raise your hand and they will bring the microphone over to you to ensure that everyone can hear. And then also, if you would like to, at the end, because box lunches pile up in the trash cans, so if you would like, feel free to break down your box and throw it in the recycling and then the contents in the trash can, just to make it a little easier for our custodians. So, all right, without further ado, I'm going to introduce our speaker, who is Danielle Dickey. She earned a Bachelor of Science in Education from Baylor and taught junior high and high school English for 6 years. During that time, she also coached volleyball, basketball, and track. In 2007, she moved to College Station, Texas, and started as a clerkship coordinator with the Texas A&M Health Science Center College of Medicine. And there she found an interest in both higher education and medical education. She then served as the campus manager for the Bryan College Station Clinical Campus, where she was responsible for managing clinical campus affairs, including oversight of clinical education and physician and institution relationships with the local community and affiliates. Danielle's administrative duties expanded to her current position as Director of Curriculum Support for Texas A&M Health Science Center College of Medicine, where she and her team provide curriculum support for all College of Medicine courses across 5 campuses. She also serves as the accreditation coordinator for the college. Danielle is currently finishing her master's degree in higher education administration from Texas A&M University, and she will graduate in May of 2015. So go Danielle. Her interests include leadership, faculty staff development, and higher education accreditation processes. So without further ado, please welcome Danielle Dickey.
Thank you, guys. Let's make sure this is loud enough. Okay, good. Sounds like everybody can hear me. I advanced this a little bit so that those of you that wanted to work on the quiz could kind of see some direction. But I'm going to take this back a little bit so we can get started. I can't claim to own the True Colors personality spectrum. This was created in the late 70s. It was based on something that they say goes as far back as Plato. It's another personality test if you've ever taken Myers-Briggs or something like that. It's just a way for us to kind of identify what we're good at, what our strengths and weaknesses are, and then use that to better interact with our peers and coworkers and whatnot. So that's the whole point of today, is to make sure that we learn a little bit something about ourselves and maybe become more efficient and collaborative in nature. So we want to better understand ourselves. We want to promote our differences. I think our differences bring value to the workplace, and we have unique skills, and we need to capitalize on those. And then promote some team building through understanding how your colleagues tend to approach projects. Okay? So that's what we want to get out of by the end of today. I just want you to consider something. If you want to jot this down on the back of your test, you can. Just take a minute or two to consider what a couple of your strengths are. Maybe a couple of your weaknesses. Most of you, every job interview asks you to do this, so you probably have identified what you think your strengths and weaknesses are. And then everybody has some pet peeves, things that can just push your buttons, especially at work. So just consider what those might be, because I want us to consider how we can capitalize on the strengths, maybe minimize the weaknesses, maybe help adjust to those things that are pet peeves right now. Keep those in mind, because I'm going to bring those back as you start to learn about which personality group you fit in. Now I want you to consider, what was the best team you ever worked on? Okay? Think about the team that was the most collaborative, maybe was the most efficient, the most effective. I want you to consider what the elements of that team, both as a group and as individuals, what made it work. Okay? If we weren't in such a huge room, I'd probably ask for some feedback. But I can tell you from my experience, it was that we communicated well with each other. It was that we tended to be able to stay on task, even though there was often an element of respect and like among each other. Okay? Those are the things that I think make a good team. And really the foundation of that is the fact that we trusted each other. Okay? And it's not immediate, but when you're working in a team, you trust that you know what you bring to the table, you know what they bring to the table, and that you're going to both get your pieces done so that you can get the job done. Okay? And that's important, because without trust, we're not going to move forward. Okay? Especially in the collaborative nature of the workplaces we work in today. So I want to talk a little bit about what behaviors tend to lead to trust. Okay? These are things that you can do, okay, to help build trust among your coworkers, your peers, the teams you work on. Okay? Straight talk. Say what you mean what you say. Demonstrate respect. You've got to give respect in order to get respect. And I know that sometimes takes some time to build. Create transparency. If you do something wrong, claim it, fix it. Everybody makes mistakes. Show some loyalty. Deliver your results. Get better. Always make improvements on what you do and who you are. Confront reality. Some of the tasks we're identified to do, sometimes those are pretty big tasks. So be real in what it is that you can get done, and what you're going to be able to achieve. Clarify expectations. Okay? Practice accountability. You got to listen. Okay? Keep your commitments and extend trust. Okay? Back to that trust piece. Okay, these are all important, because some of what we're going to talk about today and how you interact with your personality and with the other personalities around you is how can you do these things better? Okay, how can you do these things better and more effectively? All right, so if you haven't already taken your quiz, if you'll take a minute to look at your quiz. I know everybody's eating their lunch, but if you can take just a second, because it'll be the rest of the presentation will be a lot more fun if you already know what your color is. Okay? So on the top of your quiz, there are rows, all the way across. So each group of words you need to look at, and across the row, you're going to label those 1 through 4. Okay? 4 being the most, 1 being the least. kind of concentrate on your work personality. I know if I were to take this based on my friends and my family, I might answer and rank the boxes a little bit differently. So we're going to focus on your work world today. And there might be one or two words in a box that you don't really agree with. That's okay. You're just kind of going for the overall feel of that box. Okay, the overall tone of that box. So 1 through 4 all the way across. And then, of course, you'll notice at the bottom it tells you how to total each one. One of the ways to know if something went wrong is if any of your boxes at the bottom end up with less than 5, there's probably a miscalculation somewhere. Okay? All right, I'm going to give you just a couple minutes to kind of get that done. If you're already done, you might have one that's it's prominent, okay? And then you may have one that's a secondary. And that's okay. If you have an even tie, you may have to just pick one. Pick one and own it. Sorry, some of the words are kind of sliding off the end. This is not a PowerPoint. This is something called a Prezi presentation. And sometimes it doesn't translate very well to certain screens, so I apologize for that. Okay. So you'll notice that there are 4 colors. Okay? Blue, green, gold, and orange. I know that we have our personalities are much more varied than that, but for our purposes, they're just 4 today. Okay. While you're finishing up, I want to tell everybody that everybody has all colors. Okay? You don't get into a place where you want to categorize and say, I don't have any gold, or I don't have any blue. That's not true. I mean, we're all whole persons. We all have a little bit of everything in our personalities. Okay? Sometimes one may be stronger than another. You may take this 5 years from now and find that you've shifted a little bit, and that's okay. Identify one primary color. Even if you had a tie, I need you to pick one. You may have a secondary color. It'll be fun for you to listen to kind of how you respond to things at a secondary level. The colors you don't choose still have characteristics that apply to you. Okay? And this is really more for you to be able to more effectively work with others. It's the whole purpose of this. Okay. Looks like most people are still totaling at the bottom, so I'm going to give you another minute or two. Okay, so this is just a fun way to categorize these. We're going to talk a lot more attributes for each of these colors, but if we had to do it in a quick phrase, gold is the be prepared. They're kind of the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts of the group. Okay? Blue, how does that make you feel? You know, they're the ones that always have a hug and a smile for you in the morning. Orange is just do it, kind of Nike. They're kind of the ones who are ready to get there and get it done. And then you've got the green, and the greens are constantly wanting to know why. So just for fun, why don't you raise your hand if you're a gold, so everybody can kind of look around the room a little bit. Okay, so those are our golds. Okay, blues. Okay. Orange? Oh, not as many orange. Okay, green? Oh, more green than I expected. Okay. And remember, the people who raise their hands, they have other colors in their personality spectrum, okay? All right. So this is something fun. If you're interested in something like this, you can go online. There's lots and lots of websites. There's lots of companies, lots of educational institutions that have adopted true colors as a way, you know, to address learning styles or to address staff development. So you can find lots of information. But one of the things I found is, from a leadership perspective, this is kind of the breakdown of the population, okay? So gold, by far, is the biggest population. And think about it, they're the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts. Okay, they're the be prepared. They also like rules and policies. Okay, blue a little less. Okay, orange has got a pretty strong showing. They're the just do it, obviously. So you can see how leadership style might fit well with an orange. Green is a smaller population of greens. Okay, greens are those Ys. They're always digging into why. A lot of faculty probably have a strong green contingent. Okay. I'm not going to have you divide into groups, but I may have you turn to your partner, okay, for just a second. And I want you to talk with them about what their color is and see if you share some strengths and weaknesses. Do you have any similarities? Think about your work issues. Do you share some of the same pet peeves? So I'll give you about a minute, 2 minutes to share what a color is with somebody near you and talk about that. Okay, so let's bring it back around. Y'all can talk about this for days. If we had workshop time, I'd let you do it. If we had enough time to do a full workshop, we'd break into groups and we'd really dig into our personality types. But for today, we're going to keep moving on so you can learn more about your type. If someone is willing, I know it's in a big room and I don't want anybody to have to get to a mic, but does anybody want to share something that you identified? Maybe you found somebody who was like you or somebody who was not like you and something that surprised you. Anybody? Okay, let me share what I found when I've done this a few times, okay? I had somebody that I worked with on a limited basis that happened to be sitting near me. It was the group that I went over to talk to. And it was somebody that we had rubbed each other the wrong way a lot. I'll be honest with you. Nothing had happened for us to have that. We just didn't communicate well with each other. And I found that they were a color that I have the least of. Okay? And I probably was the color they had the least of. And so we approached things from almost opposite spectrums, which is probably why we couldn't quite ever get off on the right foot, because I was looking at it from one perspective, they were looking at it from a totally different perspective. And to be honest with you, if we just taken the time to get past that, we'd probably find that we were a lot closer on a lot of ideas and where we wanted to go. We just had different approaches to get to it. Okay, so that's part of why I wanted you to kind of talk about that. That's part of why I wanted you to be thinking about your strengths and weaknesses and what some of your pet peeves at work are, because I want you to think about how we can manage those better, both as individuals and in working with others. So let's dig in and talk about what each one is. Okay, this is the fun part. It's what everybody wants to talk about. So gold, they're the ones who really like kind of the rules and policies. Okay, they like authority, they respect authority. Okay, they have a strong sense of what is right and wrong. There's a right and there's a wrong for golds. Okay, they need to be useful. That's very important to them. They need to be a part of something and be useful and a part of whatever it is they're working towards. They very much value home, family, and tradition. Not NAD, but and tradition. Okay, so tradition and the way things have always worked, that's foundational for them. That's part of what keeps them going. Okay, they're natural preservers. They're good citizens. They're all about being helpful. They want to do their part. Okay, that's kind of what makes up a gold. Okay, some of you, I see you nodding. Does that feel comfortable to you if you're a gold? And remember, everybody has some of this. So if this was your secondary color, even if it was the color that ranked the lowest, everybody has some of this. Okay? So the blues, they like to feel unique and authentic, okay, for them, for themselves, and what they bring to the table. They want to know what the meaning is, the purpose and the significance, okay, in life. So a lot of blues like to work towards a larger mission. So wherever they work, they really believe in what that work does at a bigger picture, okay? They need to contribute, to encourage, to care. That's both for themselves and for the people they work with and for. They value integrity, unity in relationships. Integrity is big. Blues don't do well when they feel like there's not trust in a relationship. Okay? They start to break down a little bit because that's important to them. They're kind of the romantics, the poets, the nurturers. Okay? These are important. Okay? I'll tell you that if you are a blue, or maybe a blue is what you have the least of, we need these people in our work lives. Okay? They're the ones who bring balance to all of the golds and the greens, the ones who are just out there going, output, okay? So this is important. You've got your orange, okay? They're very spontaneous. They act on a moment's notice. They like to make decisions quickly, okay? So we'll talk about one of the things is there's also downsides to each color that you can manage, okay? So we'll talk about what those might be. Life is a game, and I don't mean that in a bad way. They enjoy life for what life brings, okay? They're going to enjoy each moment, what they're doing at that time. They value skill and resourcefulness and courage. A lot of oranges do very active jobs, things they can do with their hands. They're not a kind of sit behind the desk kind of people, okay? They're troubleshooters. They're good at problem solving, okay? A lot of performers and competitors have a lot of orange in their personality. Okay, they thrive on those pieces of their jobs and work and hobbies. You've got your green, okay? They seek knowledge and understanding. Remember, they're the Y group. They live by their own standards. And when I say they live by their own standards, they've already identified the why, and then that's where they live by, okay? They want explanation and answers. So if you're in a group and that person is still trying to say, but why are we doing that? They're trying to dig deeper and figure out if there's something else to the story. Okay? Big on fairness and justice. They value intelligence. They're natural nonconformists. Not to be a nonconformist, but because they've already identified a higher value or principle that they believe might override something else. Hence why they might not conform to whatever the rules are. They're visionaries. They're also problem solvers. All right. So it's fun to watch some of you nod or shake your heads no, like that's not me. Everybody has a little bit of everything. All right, let's talk about what can bring stress to the different colors. Okay, so you identified some of your pet peeves. Some of these might be your pet peeves if this is your color. So for a green, they don't have time for idle chit-chat. Greens don't have time for that. So that can bug them in the workplace. If there's somebody who's always kind of saying, why are y'all still chit-chatting? Might be a green. They don't want to do someone else's timeline, okay? They've already identified the best timeline to get to something. They don't function well if somebody else imposes a timeline on them, okay? They don't like to make a decision if they don't have all the information. Okay? So that green is still asking you questions. It's because they feel like they need some more information before they can move forward. Okay? So any of these things can trigger a green to not function as effectively. For gold, okay, they don't do well with somebody who's trying to do too many things at one time. Okay? They tend to be a little more linear in the way they function. They're getting things done. Okay? So somebody who's trying to do 3 tasks at once, that can kind of rub a gold the wrong way. They want you to concentrate on one and get it done. Okay? They want you to have a plan. It's back to that whole multitasking. Have a plan, get that thing done, move on. Okay? They don't do chaos and disorganization. They don't like it when others don't follow rules. Gold likes their rules. Okay? The rules are there for a reason. Follow the rules. Okay? So if you're not following the rules, the gold is probably going crazy. They don't deal well with change. If y'all have people in your organization who are resistant to change, okay, it may be that they're gold, and gold brings a lot of positive things to the table, okay? But change is one of the things that's difficult for them to manage and to address, okay? Blue, they don't do well if they get overextended, okay? It causes stress and anxiety, and blues don't deal well with stress and anxiety. They like to be happy, okay? Personal situations can intercede in work because, remember, they're very connected to the emotional side of both their work life and their social life, so that can often come into play with them. If something's going on at home or something's going on at work, okay, that can affect what's going on. They have trouble saying no to either work or socializing, either one, okay? If somebody asks you to do it, okay, I'll get it done, because they tend to be people pleasers, okay? Orange can get distracted, okay? I told you that moment's notice, they like to make decisions and move to the next thing. Sometimes they have trouble concentrating, okay? Sometimes follow-through can be an issue, okay? Because they don't want a project that takes an extended amount of time. They want to get it done and move to the next thing, okay? So sometimes that follow-through piece can be a problem for them. And if they're working with somebody who's extended a project, that drives an orange crazy, okay? Because they're ready to close it and go to the next thing. They don't like to follow established systems, okay? They've got their own way to manage it. They do like new options. The orange will always be, well, what if we did it like this? You know, they're the ones who always have something new. Even if you just created a new system, the orange might say, but we could do it like this, okay? So these are some of the things to think about, okay? And we're going to hopefully have some time at the end for a little bit of discussion or questions. These are some of the things that you can right now start to identify as either you can manage as an individual issue, or you've identified somebody you work with, and you can start to understand why these things bother them. And it's not for, you know, if you're socializing with a friend and you need that 10 minutes to socialize before you go back to your desk to work, okay, you might need that, but understand what they might be seeing, okay? Or if you're working on a project and you've extended the deadline, maybe you're working with somebody who's an orange, and they're frustrated because they're ready to move to the next project. So consider these things. That's part of what I wanted you to consider when you talked about what your pet peeves were, okay? And if some of these are your issues, maybe you can start to understand where they come from and manage how you allow it to project out to others. Okay. Well, we're going to talk about some more. How do you talk to, and that does not show well, how do you talk to people of each color, okay? The greens, they rely on facts. They're going to ask you lots of questions, okay? They don't want to talk about it more than once, okay? You put it all out, they've got it, they're ready to go to the next thing, okay? They don't do small talk very well. They do want to hear both sides of the issue. So if you've only come in and presented one side of the issue, I can guarantee they're going to want to talk about, well, what if we were looking at it from this perspective, okay? They don't like when they're not understood. When they're not being understood, that can frustrate them because they tend to be very clear. They think they're being very clear. So consider this, and we're going to talk in the next slide about how you can approach a green. Let's say you've got to approach your boss, or maybe you are a boss and you need to approach an employee, or you're working with somebody on a committee, okay? And y'all have got to get to the next point. Think about how these pieces of information can help you better approach somebody who approaches life as a green, okay? Same thing, if you're a gold, they want you to use very precise and clear language. Remember, they're kind of the rules, the traditional people. No small talk. So the greens and golds tend to be okay on that level. They're keep it short, keep it simple. Keep the conversation in a logical order. Don't jump around. If you're jumping from here to here to here, the gold is going crazy, okay? Talk about the responsibility and the reason this has value, okay? So we're going to do this because of the mission. We're going to do this because of X, Y, Z. The gold starts to really buy into whatever it is you're speaking about. Be efficient. If you're going to be able to make something more efficient, they're going to buy in, okay? And then they're going to like it if you have an agenda and a plan when you come in, okay? If this is a big meeting and you're going to be working with a gold, have an agenda. Send them an email. These are the 4 things I want to talk to you about, okay? They're going to love that, and the meeting's going to start off much better. They're prepared and ready, okay? The blue, They love to talk. It's hard to see that, okay? They want to talk to you, so they're going to want a little bit of chit-chat before you jump into the issue, okay? Greens and golds, they don't want you to chit-chat before the thing. But the gold would like for you to say, how was your weekend? What'd you do last night? Okay? They want a couple of those questions before you jump straight into the issue. They don't like to be too direct. They like to be direct in that they want you to be genuine and honest in what your feelings are in the moment. That's very important for blues. You don't always have to be happy, but they're not going to like it if you're unhappy and trying to act like you are, or vice versa. Okay? They want you to have genuine emotions. They want you to tell you how you feel. Okay? They don't like it if something's going to end in conflict. Okay? Blues are conflict averse. They're going to find a way to avoid the conflict, to go around the conflict if that's possible. They don't want to be able to get off topic. Okay? They do tend to, but you're going to have to keep the blues focused. And then they're going to be looking at your body language. Okay? So standing in the doorway, probably not as good. If you're going to talk to a blue, go in and sit down. Sit down with them. Okay? That's going to go a long way for a blue. For oranges, just get things going, okay? Say just the right thing. Don't pat it. You need to add anything extra, okay, for the orange. Oranges will dominate the conversation, and they can respect that with someone who's leading the conversation as well. They like that you're direct and you're taking control. Get to the point. Make it quickly. Don't drag it on. If you've come in with a plan and you have a solution, get to it, okay, because that's what the orange is going to be happy about. They like energy and excitement. A lot of times I picture a lot of oranges being people who are very good at sales and persuasion. They're very high energy and passionate. And they're very focused on what the end result's going to be. Okay? So the next slide is going to take this a step further, and hopefully we're not cut off too much on the next slide. If you're going to speak to one of these, okay, this is just flipping the same content we just talked about. If you're going to approach your boss, you're going to approach your employee, you're going to approach a coworker, here's how you should do it, okay, in order to be more effective. And I want you to think about a conversation that you have, that you need to have, or you just had recently. Use that as an example of how you could have approached it better. You can probably identify about what category or what color that person is. So start to consider how you could approach that differently. Be very clear and concise, logical, support your decision if you're a green, get right to the point, make sure that everything in your conversation is relevant to the larger point. They like possibilities, and when I say possibilities, greens are innovators. They want to think outside the box to solve that problem. Okay, so if you already come in ready to do that, they're going to be open to whatever it is you're saying. Some similarities with gold, like I told you, very straightforward. They want to plan. Use references to the past, and that doesn't have to be a negative connotation. Okay, you don't have to say that's how we've always done it in a negative way, but they do want to know what things have you done well and how can you capitalize on those things. They don't want you to throw out the traditional for something new just for the sake of throwing it out. Okay, they like that foundation. Keep the conversation in order. It's back to that agenda. For gold, probably for a green as well. If you're going to send just an email and say, these are the things I want to talk about, that'll go a long way in setting up your conversation. Okay? And then talk about responsibility. Okay? What is the bigger picture? We're doing this because it ties to the mission. We're doing this because it's important for our department's strategic plan, those kinds of things. With the blue, do not be open with your criticism, okay? Being open, like criticizing just for the sake of criticizing really turns a blue off, remember? Okay? They don't like conflict, so be careful with that. But they want to know how you feel about what you're saying, okay? So they're going to be reading your body language. They want to know whether you agree or don't agree with what it is that y'all are working on or the proposal you're making. They put people ahead of procedures and processes. So it's more important about the person than it is the process. They want you to be genuine. Okay, and again, most blues really respect, even if that genuine feeling is being upset, they'd rather you be upset because they want to feel honest emotion from you. They want room for input and questions. A blue needs to be able to talk about why we're doing what you're going to do. And then make sure you keep your promises for a blue. Big. It's back to that integrity piece. Do what you're going to say and say what you're going to do, that kind of thing. And then the oranges, okay, get straight to the point, straight talk, be bold. They'll like it if you're passionate about what it is you're talking about. That's going to make them buy into what it is you're saying. Talk about results. The gold's like the results, okay? They're going to be like, when are you going to be able to get this done? When are you going to be able to get the output? And then keep the conversation kind of lively and moving. So just with the nod of a head or show of hands, do you think some of these approaches could have made a future conversation or a most recent conversation go better had you had some of these approaches? Yeah? So, and it's hard. It's hard to keep things in mind, okay? At the College of Medicine, we did this a few years ago, and we put each person's main color on their door sign. You know where their name was outside their door? No! It's not a bad thing. No colors are bad. But sometimes it'd help you stop and say, oh, I'm about to go talk to so-and-so about this. Maybe I should take a second, and the approach I was going to take may not be as effective if I stop and come at it from this direction. Okay? So sometimes you walk in, you're just going to drop by, you're going to talk about a quick project, and it doesn't go where you want it to go. Everybody's upset. The quick conversation didn't result the way you wanted it to. Sometimes just taking a second to approach it differently makes a difference. All right, how do you get their attention? Okay, so we talked about how you talk to them, but sometimes you've got to get their attention, whether you're in a meeting. Okay, this is really big when maybe you need to go talk to your boss, or maybe you need to go talk to an employee about something that's going on, a goal you have for them, or something that you need them to work on. Okay, give them information. Okay, green. If you have a problem to solve, greens are happy. Okay, they like to solve problems. Okay, they like to solve problems independently, I might add. Okay, they want to get there and they want to work on those independently. They want to build their own skills and competencies. So if you have an opportunity for them to learn something, they love faculty development, okay, or staff development, because that's an opportunity for them to build their skills. They want the opportunity to give explanations and add additional insights. Remember, they're the why. The why. The why is this happening, or why are we going to fix it this way, or why are we going to do it that way? Gold, leadership. They like leadership, okay? They want to be able to show that ability. If you want something organized, go to a gold. Okay? Golds thrive on getting to do that. They want to help organize things, fix something, clean something up. Okay? They love, if you need somebody to keep a process in place, gold's your people. Okay? They want that process or that policy to work. They're the ones that will help you get that going. If you need to clarify expectations, maybe you have a group of people who need students. Maybe the students need a conversation about tardiness. Okay? Golds are a good one to come in and say, this is why we do what we do, and give them that talk. Okay? And if you need somebody to be very consistent with feedback, so maybe there's an employee who needs some work, give them a gold as a mentor. Okay? If you mentor them with a gold, that person's going to be very, very planned and strategic in the way they work with that person. And so it's constant feedback versus, 6 months later, I still haven't talked to so-and-so about that plan we built. Okay? Blues, okay, they need social contact. Okay? So if you have something that has a social event to it, the blue's the person that you go to. Okay? They need clear outline for expectations. They don't like not knowing what they're going into. Okay? Especially if that's got political or social emotional undertones. Okay? They need to be able to express their feelings. Okay? So if you've got to talk about something that deals with feelings and whatnot, a blue might be a good person to go to. They can help you out with that. They're very insightful about how people are feeling. Okay? Which can sometimes be helpful if there's a conflict going on. They like to please. Okay? If you've got a project that'll be a big people pleaser, blue's going to get it done because they're people pleasers by nature. If you have an orange and you need to keep them engaged, you need to make an assignment that's quick. Challenging. I mean, they like a challenge, but it's not a 1 year or 2 year project. They want something they can get done and show the results quickly. Give them an opportunity to show how clever they are. Okay, oranges often have like very dry wit and humor. Okay, I'd like to show how quick on the feet they are. Something hands-on that they can do, and then any immediate need. If you've got something that's popped up, go to an orange. They'll help you fix it. Okay? Yeah. Provide opportunities to do things that are. I'll have to look at it. I'll have to pull it down so I can look at it on the screen. And I can provide this. We can share it with Anna, and Anna can send it out. I'm sorry some of the words got cut off. So if you're trying to take notes desperately, we'll get you a copy of this. And you can search your color online, and you will find lots and lots of information about yourself or others. Okay, problem solving. So if you're working with, we'll go over this quickly because a lot of this starts to get a little redundant, okay? But when you're in a group, you're in a committee, say you're building a committee, okay? You need a little bit of everything on a committee, let's be honest, okay? So if you're finding a way on how to get a nice, diverse, and balanced committee, maybe consider looking what their color is and not just looking at what department they come from or what their gender is or whatever it is. Maybe this is another way to make sure you find balance in your committees. So for your greens, they're going to look at both sides of the issue, the pros and cons. They're going to look at being very logical in their approach. Okay? They're big on the unintended consequences or the consequences that, you may not be talking about. So that's nice to have on a committee. You got this great plan, and then somebody goes, oh, wait, we didn't think about what if this happens. Okay? Your gold, they'll be very factual. They'll be fact gatherers for you. They're very good at identifying exactly what all the situation entails, what needs to be done, what has already been done, what am I and others already doing. Like I said, fact gatherers. Okay, so that's good to have on a committee that's working on something. The blues are going to care about what they lose or what others are going to lose. Okay, in the process or the procedure or the goal that you're creating. And that's sometimes important, looking at the personal side of whatever you're creating and how an individual might respond to that. So your blue is going to bring that perspective. What values are involved? Those are both individual values as well as organizational values. They'll be concerned about how people will react to whatever you're putting out there. In an academic setting, we know sometimes when you put something out there, people are going to react, both positively and negatively. The blues are going to be good about considering what those reactions might be. They're going to be very committed to making sure you carry out whatever your solution is. Like I said, they're back to that commitment and integrity. So they'll often make sure you finish. Okay? Your oranges and your golds might be, we've got the plan, our part's done, the plan's done. Your blue will be make sure you kind of close the loop and get that thing finished. And then your orange, they're going to want to know what the possibilities are. It's a little bit of a green in there too. What else? What else aren't we thinking about? What are other ways to solve the problem? They will look at the data. Okay, oranges do like data. They're just not going to spend lots and lots and lots of time on the data. And then what are the implications beyond just the facts? Okay, so the blues and the oranges will often look at kind of outside just the facts. Okay, so here are some things that you can do working with all colors. Okay, these are just good skills for you to have in your toolbox to be an efficient colleague, to be an efficient employee. For gold, people who are dependable and on time and they've established goals, that makes them happy. Okay, and that's good for all of us to do, regardless of whether we're gold. Show how you can be more efficient and effective. Be honest and ethical. They're very big on process and rules. And be explicit with your ideas and statements. Okay? These are all good things for us all to do, regardless of whether we're gold or we're trying to impress a gold. For a blue, be optimistic. Minimize negative impact. Start with your concern for people. Focus on the team and the team building. Be sensitive to feelings and show compassion. Test the waters for buy-in before you throw something out there, and be sincere. Work with integrity. Again, I would say all of these bullets are things that are good for us to do, okay, regardless of what color we are or what color we're working with. Orange, project energy and enthusiasm. Action-oriented work and communication. Look at all the possibilities. Be flexible. Remember, sometimes the orange doesn't want to follow the rule. They want to look at a new way to do something. Consider all the angles. Help them realize that working with you will result in a job well done. Oranges like kudos, okay? So if they know working with you is going to result in something good, they're going to be excited to work with you. Green, very logical. They want to solve the problems. You're going to have to sell your idea more than once because the green's going to keep asking why. Okay? That's not always bad. Consider presenting a written plan. Write it up. You got an idea? Write it up. Okay? Both the greens and the golds will appreciate that. Consider presenting a written plan and then use existing resources. Greens love that you're going to be able to do something efficiently with resources that already exist. That seems very effective to them and efficient. Okay? So really, let's be honest. If we all used all of these bullets in our everyday work life, our home lives, it probably makes us a better, more efficient, well-rounded person. Okay? It's helpful to know who you're working with and who you're approaching, but none of these are specific just to one person. I think we all appreciate these skills and talents. Okay. So let's go back just a little bit and think about what your color was. Now that you've learned a little bit about that color, both your strongest color and maybe your secondary color, think about who you saw raise their hand and who you spend a lot of your time working with. Think about those strengths, those weaknesses, those pet peeves, those teams that you work on. And consider how the things that you know, just from the 30, 45 minutes that we've had a chance to talk about it, how you might be able to adjust and be a little more effective in how you work with them, how you capitalize on your strengths, how you capitalize on others, how you minimize those weaknesses that tend to be an issue sometimes. And if we have questions and whatnot, we'll do those. But if you have something you'd like to share, something that came to you as you learned about this, that hit any of these, I would love for you to share in just a minute. So to conclude, everyone has all colors. I want to make that really important. Sometimes we love to get into categories and labeling each other, but let's not make that a negative, okay? You know, you see an orange and you go, oh, you're an orange, or oh, you're green, or oh, you're blue. That's not the point of any of this, okay? We all have all colors. We need to embrace those. Sometimes maybe we need to take our weaker color and bolster it up a little bit. Try to play to each other's strengths. When we get busy, when we get frustrated, sometimes it's really easy to focus in on the things that aren't going well. But if we'll focus on the things that are going well, it makes it a much more fun place to work. Okay? And we're better at our jobs when we're happy. Consider how to approach people, how to approach different projects, how you communicate. And use this information just to become better communicator, better team player, better employee, better person. Okay? Like I told you, there are lots and lots of websites. Google, just put True Colors personality, True Colors spectrum. You put in just about any combination of words, you'll get lots of resources. Lots of higher education institutions have used this, either with students for learning styles or for employees, okay? So you'll find lots of resources that you can utilize. And I put my phone number and email up there. I would be glad to interact with you if you have an idea or a way you'd like to use this. I'd love to work with you on that if you'd like to contact me. Questions? Comments? Did you learn something? Yes.
This is incredibly useful. Do you have a good strategy for implementing this within our departments? How do I go to people that I supervise and say, hey, will you please take this test so I can know how to talk to you?
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, I've done this at two different group levels. I did this at a group that I was the supervisor of, so it was always easier to put it on the agenda and say, hey, we're going to do this team building thing. But I also worked on a committee and said, hey, guys, there's this really cool colors thing that I did in another group. I think we could do it and make us more effective. And both groups responded well. I mean, there might have been some grumbling on the front end, like, what does this mean? You can shorten this down. You can make a quick handout with some of the character traits on each one. Everybody likes to talk about their personality, which is nice. Sometimes you need that just team building and sharing time. And then once you identify everybody's color, you have the tools you need to use it. And hopefully you can model that behavior for everybody else. It'll help make your committee and your department work better. So I'd put it on the agenda. We did it in an hour in a group, and it was plenty of time for us to get through it. And some of that was because we took the test beforehand, and people could dig into the personality types, so when we got into the group, we got to talk about it. Anybody else? That's a great point, by the way. I would really suggest doing this with a group you work with a lot. Like I said, I did it it was about a team of 7 in my department that we did. I think it's about time to go back and do it again. Anybody else? Comments, questions? Yes? Right? So you could see where they rank for you?
Exactly.
That's clever.
See where I am and see what I'm strongest in and where I'm the weakest, and then you know how to approach. So have it outside your door. I'm a gold, I'm a blue, I'm a green, I'm an orange.
That may be something to consider. You know, we just did everybody's primary color, but kind of showing kind of where they ranked in your order, because then you know what kind of might be their pet peeves. Absolutely. You know, if their gold is their lowest color, you may know, okay, I need to go in quick. I don't need to go in long, or something like that. Okay.
Did I hear you say that you will share this PowerPoint?
Yes, I will share this. I will give it to Anna or Karen, and they can share it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's give Danielle a round of applause. We appreciate your bringing this information today. She came all the way from Texas to be with us, and we thank you very much. We will remind you that we are continuing to build the smart web page where we will post some of the presentations, and we'll have the video recordings there. Eventually, we're getting pretty close to being able to launch the web page. It's drawing time, and we're going to do it a little different this month. If you're in the first 7 rows, counting 6, 7. Okay, the first 7 rows, you are in the pool. So stand up for 7 rows. If you attended the kickoff in February, remain standing. If you attended the program in March, remain standing. The kickoff, it's sort of telling if you have to ask. No, it was the first program when we talked about the committees and Dr. Ganzel spoke, and okay. If you recall the topic for the program in March, remain standing. The topic, what was the topic? Okay, it's on stress management. All right, if you're still standing, pick a number between 1 and 100. And you have a few seconds to get your number together. All right. Whose number is in the first 25 digits between 1 to 25? Who's in 1 to 25? Sit down. Who's in 75 to 100? Sit down. Who is 26 to 70, what did I say, 75, 74? That's everybody, it should be. What's your number? What's your number? What's your number? Your number. 53 is the number, and you are the winner. What was your number, Kathy? 55. 54 was your number? You are the winner of a $50 Target gift card. Anna, what's our topic next month?
It is by Dr. Robin Youngson about taking care of our own and compassion and helping.
Robin Youngson, taking care of our own and compassion. We'll see you here the 4th Wednesday of the month next month. Be smart. Oh, that's right. And don't forget, we have an icebreaker May 13th, which will be out on the plaza. Don't miss it. Be smart.